Hey, what's going on, everyone? Earthmaster here, checking in on this Thursday night, January 16th, 2020. About 6:40 p.m. here, West Coast time, and taking a look at the Earthquake 3D live stream here, along with a live view of Volcano Taal and the Philippine Islands region. Also looking at the globe here, latest earthquake there, seeing that show up there on a couple distant stations there, 4.9 off of the coast of Mexico. Now, let me see here. Let me go back down here a little bit. Pretty sure there was an earthquake prior to this 5.9. I believe that 5.3 struck, and then that was quickly followed up by a 4.9. You can see that. I'm dropping the dates down here from the globe, so that's exactly what happened. Pretty good back-to-back earthquake activity right there off the coast of Mexico in that subduction zone. 5.3 and then followed up quickly by that 4.9. So definitely something to watch in that area. We'll bring back the last 24 hours of earthquake activity around the globe, and of course no stranger to earthquake activity is Puerto Rico, right? We're going to get into that here in a little bit. I'm going to show you guys a little bit better detail than the Earthquake 3D globe has to offer when it comes to seeing what's underneath the ocean surface, right? We want to see the ocean floor and the tectonic plates at work in that region. Still no let up of activity in that region in Puerto Rico. Quite a few 3s, 4s. Not for sure if they had any 5s in that area over the last day. Let me bring the magnitude up here just a little bit. Yeah, actually did 5.2, but that's pretty close to dropping off the 24-hour window period. So that's an older earthquake, but looks like the 4.3 was the largest over the last 24 hours. But, ooh, what do we got going on here? A 4.0 showing up out here in, wow, Utah? Let's take a look at that real quick here, folks. Let me bring up the earthquake map here real quick. I was going to go with the Puerto Rico map, but since we got some major activity out here just popping up, we're going to hold off on that right now and see what's going on in Utah. That's kind of significant right there, if that's a 4.0 going on out there. Not a major quake, but it's kind of a surprise quake, you know, out there in Utah. Who would have thought? And if that's the case, that's rather interesting here. So let's zoom in right here on this little dot. I know it's not the best map to view earthquake activity, but it definitely will give you an idea of where we're at. Let me raise my map here a little bit, folks. This is just, it wasn't expected in my update video, so I'm kind of going along with it here. 4.0 near, it looks like Milford. That it looks like it may have shown up on a couple stations there in Southern California there. I was wondering about that. Yeah, Milford. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Milford, Utah. It shows a depth of negative 1.3 kilometers. So I don't believe this has been reviewed yet, but that's pretty interesting out there in that little mountain range. Click on that here, and I don't know who's out there. I don't know if there might be the desert type area out there, so I don't think there's anybody within that region, you know, as far as like population goes. Let's see if we can see what type of geographic views we can see out here. So we'll keep an eye on this. I don't think it's been reviewed, folks. That little red circle there, that 4.0 that just popped off there in Nevada. I do want to see if anybody reported feeling it in that area. Let me see here. Hold on a second, folks. Bear with me. I still have some issues. Well, actually, it's showing up pretty nice now. I was just going to say you guys can't see what I'm seeing, but it looks like it's working this time. 4.0, 15 kilometers southeast of Milford, Utah. A couple people reported feeling it. You can see it in the felt report right there. And let's see, the depth is still at 1.3 kilometers below surface. Review status is automatic. So this is just a preliminary report on this earthquake that just took place out there in Utah. So we will definitely come back to that and see if that's been updated. So very, very interesting there, just to see that pop up there on the globe, of all places. So either way, folks, a lot of activity taking place out here today in the earthquake department. Again, Mexico, right off the coast of Mexico. Puerto Rico is it's just another spot. A lot of activity out here in the Atlantic, 4.6 and a 5.5 out there. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge. South America, a lot of earthquake activity, but this is pretty old. The red rings indicating some older earthquake activity, just about ready to drop off the globe. Although there was a 5.0 earlier, or late last night, I should say. But earthquake activity in that region dying down for the moment. Alaska dying down as well. If you've been paying attention to the activity up there, we've seen a large, we can go back here another day or so, and you can see the amount of activity that was occurring up there was significant. But right now, over the last 24 hours, there's pretty much nothing occurring up there. Some small quakes up there. Kind of looks like west of Fairbanks. Cluster of quakes out there off the coast of Russia. I believe that's Russia up there. 4.8, 4.3, and I know I've seen a couple other ones in there. But either way, a couple of them stacked up there. Let's get this. Yeah, 5.3, 4.8, and a 4.3 striking in that area. Relatively quiet through the west part of the Pacific Ring of Fire until you get down here, kind of towards the Indonesia Islands area. But either way, folks, I mentioned this in my last update video. I think it was last night. It was a quick, short one, just because my nephew was trying to tackle me and lower my pull my disc in my back. It's been relatively quiet far as background earthquake activity out here. It's well below normal in this part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. All the activity recently for the past couple days is on this side of the globe. So, and that's where it's been. I mean, for the past couple days, it's something to watch. Even though we have volcanic activity out there in the Philippines island region, it's not, I don't want to say it's major. It's major for the folks that live out there, but it's not something out of the norm. Volcano Taal does this on every 40, 50 years or so. Last time back in 77, I believe. So it does happen. But just looking at the globe, this is the area of interest right now to me. Very, very interesting out here with all the activity in Puerto Rico. I think a lot of folks are wondering what the heck is going on in Puerto Rico, right? Well, there's definitely been some large quakes, so we're seeing the aftershock activity, but this is more or less like an earthquake swarm. It's not dying down. This is significant activity on a continual state. I do want to pull up this 4.0 one more time just to see if it's been updated at all here on my side real quick here, folks. Still showing 4.0, 9 people, at least 9 people filling it out there. Automatic review status, so it has not been reviewed yet. But I will do an update on that if it does get reviewed here. Let's go back over here. I kind of messed up my plan for the whole update video, but that's okay. We'll get back into the Puerto Rico activity. You got the Puerto Rico Trench to the north of Puerto Rico Island, and you got the Moretos Trough, right? Hopefully I pronounced that right. Moretos. I'm not good at pronouncing strange names like that. I can say taco or burrito, stuff like that, but I can't say Moretos. I'm not super good in my Spanish. So anyway, folks, this is a little article which is of interest to me, and it might be of interest to a few folks out there, from the Berkeley Seismology lab. Okay, so these folks are the real deal. They're not just stating information that they might think is real or they might think is happening. This is from the professionals and the geologists talking about the earthquakes and whatnot. And this was dated back in January 7th. It gives a really cool detail on the large earthquake that struck place, or that struck back there on when was that? Monday and Tuesday, 6.4 in the early morning hours of today. So we're talking about January 7th is when that big one struck. And then it gives a little bit of detail on the exact tectonic plate structure out there. And even these little diagrams of pictures are really cool to look at. I posted that one, right, on my, what was it? I can't remember which video it was. A couple of videos back, and we talked a little bit about that subduction zone to the north and the activity that's occurring to the island, or near the island to the south. And let's see if I can find the article where it talks about the large quake which struck back in okay, so we can start right here. I hear my dog barking. As soon as okay. The cause for all this seismic activity in Puerto Rico and on its western neighbor, the island of this here. I'm not going to read it all right here, but it talks about the island being squeezed tectonically between two lithospheric plates and whatnot. Let's see here. The movement of the plates can create megathrust quakes, right? It was in my megathrust video. That's right. This area is definitely, potentially, right, capable of producing a large megaquake. 1787 was the big one back then. I can't remember what it was. I think it was an 8.2 in that area. It is in my last or a couple videos back there when I talk about the potential for a megaquake in that area. Hold on a second here. So I don't want to read that whole thing because it goes on, and it talks about the islands and how they're dropping and squeezing and all that stuff here. So I'm going to leave the link for you guys to read it. I do want to go back over to the Puerto Rico map that I did originally have here before that Utah earthquake struck, and see the area of interest there in Puerto Rico. See, I was actually pretty prepared before that earthquake struck there, so kind of having to go back on this now. Let's see here. But we'll get it. We will get it. Alrighty, let's make this fit to screen here. It's not really fit to screen, but okay. I'll make it a little bit bigger. I think my resolution's off a little bit there when it comes to scale. Anyway, last 24 hours of activity. I guess 1 day magnitude here. And Puerto Rico area, right? You got the Puerto Rico Trench to the north. Muertos Trough to the south. And we can zoom in this area right here where we're seeing all this plate tectonic stress take place and give those folks in the Puerto Rico area a bad time. Of course, all these islands out here developing, right, over time, over lots and lots of time. And that's exactly what they're still doing. I'm going to bring up the, hold on a second here, 1 day. Let's go to 1 day, all magnitudes. And, well, it's not really going to make that much of a difference here on this map. But, yeah, let's go 7 days, 2.5 and above. That's a little bit better. Shows you a little bit more activity, but there's been way more than the 342 earthquakes that are shown here in this area. And this here, if you take a look at the structure below the ocean, I'm going to go ahead and bring that map up here so we can see it, hopefully. Hold on a second here, folks. Satellite. And, okay. Here's a little bit better view. I guess you guys can see that. You got the subduction area to the north right there. The one capable of producing a mega quake up there. Not a whole lot of activity going on up there, which is a good sign. But there's still definitely tectonic stress being applied here in this area with the Moretos Trough area. And that's kind of weird. As soon as I go a little bit inland, the map changes a little bit. So, but you guys can see the ridges and whatnot, the stresses that are causing uplift and whatnot in the ground below the surface of the ocean. There's not a whole lot of migration, folks, in this area. I'm sure there's other earthquakes that are taking place in this region, but they're not showing up on the 2.5 and above map that the USGS puts out. But the cluster still continues out there in the area. It's just it's a super seismic active area, folks. Very similar to the California plate boundary that kind of takes place out here. It's just it's probably going to happen for quite some time. As long as we don't see a large influx of quakes to the north there around the subduction area of the Puerto Rico Trench, then I think I'm hoping that we would be avoiding a potential for a mega quake in that area, but you just never know. Like I said, the last one happened what was it, 1787? So there's definitely been quite some time passed and some pressure built up in this area over the centuries. So yeah, they just got to hold on, and hopefully all that activity out there stops. I don't know if it's going to. It's just when Mother Nature decides to stop and release pressure, then it will be done. I'm going to zoom back in over here to Utah real quick and take a look at the latest updated information on that quake. See if they've done any type of updating, because that's kind of got my curiosity here. Let's see, zoom in here a little bit here. What do we got there? Reviewed. Okay, so now it looks like it's been reviewed, and still quite a few folks filling it out there near Milford, Utah. Let's see where the depth is at. The depth has changed dramatically, no doubt. That's a good sign, because we don't want any above surface type explosions or quakes. Looks like 9.5 kilometers below the surface there for that for the depth of the earthquake there. So that's been updated quite a bit. Review status, of course, has been reviewed by a professional seismologist there. So yeah. Anyway, interesting activity out there in Utah, and let me tell you, it's pretty crazy. We do have Puerto Rico still popping off quakes here, folks. Cabo Rojo, this station that's just now scrolling, is still showing quite a bit of activity, and I don't think that's going to go down. Just the activity that we covered there in Puerto Rico. What do we got here? Those quakes that are showing up there in Puerto Rico right now on the live seismograph station are not yet registering on the USGS website for the Earthquake 3D Globe, but there's no doubt they will be. Just got to give them a little bit of time. But just be on guard out there, folks. Earthquakes out in Utah. I mean, Puerto Rico shaking like crazy. Volcanoes blowing up everywhere. New Madrid fault zone has calmed down. Okay, I know I've seen a couple posts about 200 earthquakes in the New Madrid fault zone over the past week. That's not the case, okay? They've had a few, but most of the activity has died down, so not a huge flux of quakes like some people are trying to fearmonger out there. But a 4.0 out in Utah has got my interest here. I may have to check on that and do a specific update on that earthquake itself. We'll see what becomes of it, though. Anyway, folks, I'm going to jump off here. I got a barbecue about ready to start up. Once again, live view of Volcano Taal going on. And live stream is up and running, so hop on over, say hi. Got a couple good moderators and some good people out here with some sufficient knowledge when it comes to helping folks out here that may have any questions and whatnot on earthquakes or volcanoes. And hopefully we can direct you guys to the factual information that we like to provide here on this channel. So we'll chat to you guys a little bit later. Stay safe out there.